That's quite the intro. So I really appreciate that. And, following up an MP is always tough to do. So I'll do my best. Now, I hate to disappoint you. This isn't going to be a political speech. My background is business. I got into politics not to be a career politician. I got it to try to fix things. When I saw things going a little bit sideways in our country, when I saw things in my area and one sideways, and it was linear projects. I worked in the pipeline side of things. So worked in Canada, the US, but worked on major projects. And all of a sudden, a bunch of politicians were messing up policy. And they were messing up policy. We saw a flight of capital like we hadn't seen in a long time. So those people in our area then reached out and asked if I could step out of my comfort zone and if I could try to help out. So I'd like to recognize my colleagues here again, my brother from another mother, Mr. Peter Singh over there. Um, I have to be Peter when I got elected there as well. One of the quietest, gentlest people you'd ever meet. But he has the backbone made of titanium. Like you cannot knock this man off his skates. He's so solid and so strong. And then Honorable Layla here as well. I met her as well, and she'd been around for a couple of years before us, and there was a bit of that legacy. So I kind of said in my caucus paints, I never had sisters before. Well, it's like a now, why am I doing this little bit of a segue into this? I guess what I want to do is to share with you the authenticity. You can't fake authenticity. And that's what I've learned about your community. That's what I learned about India over the last 5 You might tell I didn't have time of Indian friends. We didn't have many folks from that area. So when I got elected, I got to be born. And as a politician, I had a chance to go out and be invited to your communities. Now, unlike typical politicians, I'm going to say that typical politicians, they go up there, they come to these events, they take pictures, they do those type of things, and they eat your food and then they leave on to the next one. They're kind of like seagulls, right? Feed a seagull a couple French fries, see what happens. So I'm not like that. When I started meeting people, I started connecting. What I saw was a ton of potential, unrealized potential, a lot of pent-up energy, a lot of really good folks. And growing up on farm, my grandma was very Victorian. I mean, great grandpa, he came from Britain. He was British Expeditionary Force, and she was the daughter of an officer of the military. But she grew up in the country, but she brought a little bit of that country to us, growing up the farm, and we would have, days where she'd set out the teacups, and we would sit there and we learn of which, fork and knife to use and everything else. And then she mentioned a couple things here. It was kind of stark. In polite company, you never talk about sex, politics, or religion. And he turns out when you get elected, that seems to be the mainstay of everything. So park that. But the biggest thing the ground taught us was you learn to get to know the person for who they are, not the clothes they might be wearing now, for where you think they might be like. You get to know the person. And I took that with me, working on major projects across North America. It was in the United Nations. When it comes down to it, we had people from all different walks of life, all different worlds that came over there to build these major infrastructure projects, both in Canada and the US. So when I got elected, I was seeing all that stuff, and the biggest problem we had is I couldn't predict what the heck politicians were doing next. Nobody in business could predict the unpredictable because you can't. When it was based in running and chasing the next vote versus chasing the vision of a country versus chasing the vision of a province. The other one was, I come back to the authenticity. Know who you are and be proud of where you come from. But don't be arrogant about where you come from. Know that we've got a path forward. And I put it some of the folks in my area. And when I start putting it in perspective, and again, getting to know your community and talking about different cultures and different countries. Our country's baby, it's only 150 some odd years old. There's tool sheds and outhouses in India that are far older than our entire country. Great. When I go back to Europe, same thing. But the economic corridor thing, it kept stabbing the back of my mind. And when I was running, it was literally to unleash what our potential was. So the basic thin and linear projects, it's been hijacked by this wackadoo woke left type narrative that wants to get us all fighting amongst each other rather than working together as a country, rather than being proud of what we have to offer. So the issue on that was it became a roulette wheel of trying to get major projects off the ground. They went from being 2 to 3 years of approval to 12 to 15 to 20 years to build something. This is asinine. So when I was pitching the Premier at the time, Premier Kenny, Layla Gear can attest to this, I was pitching these corridors, and the Premier in caucus said to me at the time, well, that's just a factory.
because I was wanting to put a railroad out to Alaska. I was wanting to tie in something to Hudson Bay. I was wanting to make sure we had crossings out at Port of Vancouver. I wanted to build up some infrastructure. And coming from that side of it, building power lines and pipelines, tank farms, and facilities, and being a farm kid, I humbly said, prayer, every single project I'd ever worked on in my life started out as a pipe dream. So I managed to lobby enough, so we were given a task force, and I led that task force. And because of not calling it transportation or utility corridors or some of the vernacular, because at that time, people were so mad at each other. As soon as you started talking about one product type or one asset type, we called it economic corridors. So I was fortunate enough to lead a team. We broke the province up into 3 parts. And what happened was everybody worked on some of these linear projects of what we needed to do to connect our country. And then COVID happens right at the middle of this blessed thing. And then we had a major event that washed out the highways out of British Columbia. And then we saw strikes off the eastern seaboard. And we saw everything in pilot airstrikes and all this other type of stuff. And what it said was, we've messed up for years. And even the mayor of Vancouver said it very eloquently. We went from a just-in-time model to a just-in-case model. And we saw that. And then most recently, hey, we got a U.S. election. And then it shook the dynamic up. And all of a sudden, the trade deals and certainties, because for years, it kind of gone out the window. But you know what? That's to our advantage right now. As goofy as it seems right now, is absolutely to our advantage. Because we're getting back to the personal level. We're talking as countrymen again, saying what we can do. We've been camp Canadians for years. We can't get this done. We can't do that. Everything's so flipping big. It's too big and too challenging. We're finally saying we can do something again. Who has a nickel in their pocket? Canadian nickel. Anybody? Okay. Flip that baby over. Tell me what the animal is on the back of that nickel. It's the beaver. Why do we have a beaver on the back of our currency? Because some dude in Britain a long time ago decided a nice top hat beat out a beaver pelt was something that was very phenomenal. So what happened was some entrepreneurs, say we're defaults in the crowd, some entrepreneurs decided to get some rickety little old wooden boat with bed sheets on top of it, sail across the Atlantic Ocean, which ain't too warm, by the way. Icebergs blow up in that area. Sail across this ocean, go to a brand new place, build birch bark canoes, meet with people they didn't even know, killed the beaver, took those pelts, took it back to Britain. And we can't talk about building a pipeline corridor or a railroad in this country? We've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten who we are as a country. And we're in now with a geopolitical sense. We've got to remember who we are. We're the true north, strong and free. By the way, for my friends and colleagues from the other parts of the country, our provincial motto is strong and free here in Alberta. So quite frankly, we put the strong and free in the true north in our OK. Alberta has a chance, and when I met your community, when I started talking about these projects, I'd met some really good like-minded people, and then I lobbied our new creator, who I report directly to, Daniel Smith. She gave this farm boy a chance because I was bugging the heck out of her and said, here's the corridor, Lano. Now you got everybody on the national level talking about building corridors. I said, here's the next iteration. What you do is you map out those corridors, whether it's pipeline, whether it's road or railroad. You've given a space so you can have certainty for the next number of years, the next 40, 50 years, certainty that you can build in these areas to know what the rules are. Don't throw the rules out the door, just make sense of them. So that people can predict, you can do that. And then, what you have to do is connect that. Who's our partners? Who are going to be our major partners going forward in the world? Well, I don't know. I like India. India's a pretty good country. Largest democracy in the world. Largest by population. Heck, they went to the moon. That's a pretty good country to start looking for. And the other one that you've taught me culturally is India is an old country. And coming back to the analogy, India's history is so vast. And India, all the time, has been one of those countries that was willing to share knowledge. Willing to make friends over a cup of chai. And it's with that we talk about what can we do with India. So this was going back a year ago. I gathered some of those spokesmen. I was getting some really good advice. And as you can probably tell, I'll make some mistakes because I'm not the typical politician. So I asked my friends I met through these events, keep me out of hot water. I'm a good intention cowboy, but I've probably messed this up. So you guys could help me out here and make sure that if there's any cultural things, and I don't mess it up because my heart is pure.
It's wanting to do this for all the right reasons. It's wanting to make sure that we're stable, that we can have these business connections for years to come, generations to come. So now we got all these people together to go, all this pent-up energy, and then, gosh, bless them, old Sparkle Socks Trudeau goes over there and blows up our relationship. Just as we were getting some inroads and we were having people going back and forth. So this energy week came up over in India that we mentioned that we're definitely going back, rather. We're going back to India. No question there. But my friends were saying, look, you got to go over there, Shane. You got to see us for firsthand. Don't take our word for it. So we went over during this little bit. Now, Energy Week has been only been going on for 3 years over in India. A small gathering of 70,000 people. I'm flying into a city that has more people in the area than our entire country does. And Dr. Amit Kumar, good friend, he's got it all built our house. He rode up, got me a meeting, and I'm thank goodness he didn't tell me how court this guy was until after we were out of meeting. So I went over there unofficially on a personal vacation, so we didn't cause any international incidents. And like I said to friends, Alona Shinsker, she was with me, Indra was there as well. Faneet was ahead of advance. He did scouting mission at Dr. Amit Kumar. We're in this room with the Secretary of Energy of India. Pretty small title, right? Biggest boardroom I've ever been in my entire life. In this nice big conference center, it's probably half the size in this room. Like, no word of a lie. They had all their offices set up. They had this boardroom. And was sitting over there. We got the three of us and the secretary, his folks in the room. And it's supposed to be like 15 minutes this time. We're getting 45 minutes. I'm not going to give you the whole meeting, but I'm going to give you the snippets of it. And here I am being this farm hit that my grandma said, and get to know people over a cup of tea, to chai, and coffee, or whatever you do it. You get to know people and be good manners, but know where you come from and be proud and let people know where you come from and make sure you listen and there's an open conversation. So now on the table, there was the flags of India and there was the flag pretended to sit in front of me. And coincidentally, I kind of do this every once in a while. I bring little Alberta flags with me. So I'll plant those babies. I was on a trip in Germany. I don't know how many the Alberta flags are planted in Germany, like other people are using them. So over this, I actually reached down and said, well, starting a personal trip. First, it's not official business. I'm here in my own fruition. Got these guys friends that, set up this meeting. But I got to show you products. And I planted the Alberta flag and pushed the Canadian one to the side a little bit. That's it. And it's not that they don't love Canada, right? Like, my family came over at about 1781 from Germany back in the day. So we've been here before Canada was a country. But I planted a flag and said, let me tell you about my problems. And when the energy minister or the energy secretary talked about how India works, and this was very profound for him. He said, India, if you do it, it's a triangle. India's at the top, and one of the base legs is the US, and the other base leg is Russia. So anything we talk about that interrupts or disrupts those relationships falls apart. We can't do it. So I said, okay, this is good. Now I know where you're coming from. On the front at the same time, so as Prime Minister Modi was over in the United States in Washington, President Trump had asked him to come over, so it wasn't like it was a secret. So I said to him, I said, well, when they talk about that one supplying line, I said, I know that President Trump is going to sell you another $10 billion worth of gas a year. So where do you think you're getting that from? So here's how it works. I call Alberta, a little fleck, actually gives the U.S. 99% of their gas imports. And we're well north of 56% of all the oil they get in the world comes from us. So I said, I don't know about you, but for me, good business is you want to talk to the supplier. You want to talk to the middleman. I said, do that. Keep doing it. We'll keep selling as much. We're going to double production. We're at 4.5 million barrels a day. We're going to pop that Navy right up to 8.4. They've got trillions and trillions of cubic feet of gas. I said, I would be more than happy to sell the U.S. all they want, and we'll continue to do so. But if I was you, I probably want to talk to the person who can supply it. And I said, here's the issue. I said, I'm not sure if you're aware, but in our country, the provinces actually own the resources. Those belong to the taxpayers. Those belong to the people in the province itself. So you're going to my prime minister, who's true at the time. If you're going to my prime minister, I said, there's no ink in his pen. And the guys get it right there. Tell you, no lead and pencil, no ink in the map. There's nothing there that guy can do for you. But if you come to our province to talk to us directly, we can make you that deal. We can do it girls can't. Completely different conversation. And I said, the other thing that we're looking for is not just you buying stuff on the spot market, or not just selling you commodities.
We want long-lasting relationships, talked about the economic corridor model, talked about how we have our upward Indigenous Opportunities Corp on the First Nations inside, and how we can do the Barrels and Kind Act to get that. That's a long-standing relationship, and that conversation went a completely different direction, and that's why we sat in her for 45 minutes. Going out, being ourselves, being proud of who we are, our part in the country, how we do that, but moreover, making those personal relationships. And now that was a big risk. So when I came back and talked to the Premier, she goes, how'd your personal vacation go? And I said, Premier, all you got to do is show up. All you got to do is be yourself. All we have to do is take our message on the road. And all we got to do is stand up this advisory council so you're getting the best information, not filtered through a bunch of people in different areas. So you're getting the best decision-making process that you could do. And then that's when we started talking about setting this thing up, formalizing it. We had to wait till after the federal election, and here we are. So now we're the first time the province has ever done this. And it's the first time in North America that we know of that there literally is an advisory council, an advisory committee giving direct advice to a premier or to a governor anywhere to talk directly as subnational level or a national level. And thank goodness that the Consulate General to us Prairie Boys kept the doors open despite all that other busyness. So, and I would also like to ask my committee members too, that are part of it, if they could stand up, give these folks a round of applause because they're as keen as he got. And that's where we're at. So in the country, we're getting beaten up for being called separatists and everything else, and we're getting beaten up because we're going out and talking to people. It's not because we're not on Team Canada. Quite frankly, it's my Ontario friends. I got a warning for you. Once you come to Alberta, you stay here a bit, you're going to get a different attitude, and you're going to love it, and you're going to be Texas North, you're going to do all those things, and you're probably going to want to move here. Because things move at the speed of business. We're honest, we're genuine, we get things done, and you're definitely in the right place to be. And with that advisory council, we're just going to light this baby up. Now we've got the green lights right across the board. We're going to be talking to a number of jurisdictions. And I want you to know, well assured, that you've got people that are politicians, the business people sitting on this side of the table, trying to do the right things for our province and for our country. You're definitely going to be part of it. And I want all the intel that you got. Because when we start off this relationship, like everything else, we got one chance to make a good first impression. So when we're doing business deals and when we're getting folks to go over there and we're connecting your businesses, I want to know all the impediments, the challenges, the issues you have so we can go fix it. So I don't know what I don't know. But I want you, when you're breakthrough ideas and you're bringing people to us, that you know that we're making our first impression, and this is a long-lasting relationship. So don't think about just that one quick deal. We want to build a family, a coalition of like-minded people. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the Premier, my colleagues, thank you so much for being part of this. Thanks for standing up the chamber, Albert. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. That's it. We'll have Ananji on the stage. Get the flowers. As you guys can tell, he's very passionate about the relationship. And thank you so much. That was a wonderful, wonderful speech. So, without further ado, let's move forward. We got our next MLA, Mr. Peter Singh. Peter Singh was first elected in 2019, and he was re-elected for a second term in 2023 in the riding of Calgary East. Emily Peter Singh, fun fact, is the only Hindu in the government caucus of Alberta. Prior to serving the Legislative Assembly, Peter owned and operated a small automotive repair business in Calgary for over 20 years, where he served as a president and vice president of the Fiji Canada Association between 2007 and 2008 as well. He has also coached soccer teams for children under the age of 14, and in 2005, Peter was recognized for his volunteer contribution with an Alberta Centennial Medal. So without further ado, please, Mr. Peter Singh.
राधे राधे। आप सभी को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार यहाँ पर आने के लिए and good evening everyone. Again, my name is Peter Singh and I'm your MLA for Calgary East constituency. And it is a true pleasure to be here with you today for this historic occasion, the event of the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce. As a Hindu and member of Alberta's Women's Caucus, I stand before you not only with honor but with deep gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to witness the birth of an organization that will give voice, representation, and the momentum to the economic aspirations of Hindu Canadians across our country. For many years, Hindu professionals and businesses leaders have contributed immensely to the fabric of our economy, often quietly and without a collective platform to advocate for their shared interest. And today marks a turning point. The CHCC is more than just a chamber. It is a movement that will bring together innovation, tradition, and community. A movement that will foster unity, create opportunity, and strengthen not only our networks, but the broader Canadian economy. I commend the organizers and the founding members for their vision and leadership. You are laying the foundation of something truly impactful, not just for today, but for generations to come. To all those who are gathered here, thank you for being part of this milestone. And I look forward to seeing the CHCC grow, thrive, and lead with purpose. And wishing you every success as you embark on this important journey. And unfortunately, the Premier of Alberta was not able to make it here, but I have a message for her, from the Premier of Alberta, Honorable Daniel Smith. On behalf of Government of Alberta, it is my pleasure to send greetings to the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce, GAA. Entrepreneurs are at the heart of the Canadian economy and have helped mark the Alberta one of the best places in the world to live, work, and raise a family. This gathering is a great opportunity for members of the Hindu business community to celebrate their contributions to Canadian prosperity and diversity, which is particularly as an approach into Heritage Month in November. I'm grateful for the many ways Hindu Canadians have enriched communities across their country. And thank you to the members of the CHCC for an innovation and hard work as the business leaders. And congratulations to the outstanding individuals being organized in awards at this event. And the best wishes for a wonderful gala and continued success of the CHCC. And this is from the Honorable Premier of Alberta, Daniel Smith. And now congratulations to, I will invite Mr. Rakesh Patel to come here on the stage. And congratulations, Mr. Rakesh Patel, for being selected as the president of new Alberta chapter of Canadian Group Chamber of Commerce. And also, he will receive a certificate from Government of Alberta for his hard work to present the many of the committees like Gujarati committee in Alberta as well. And thank you for your hard work, Rakesh Patel, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Sam, and everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can I please have Mr. Dawal Shah? He's the advisory board meeting member. Can I please have him on the stage to present the bouquet of flowers to Mr. Peter Singh?
Thank you so much. And now moving up next, this is the time I'm super excited for. I would like to invite all the dignitaries on the stage. Please welcome Emily Peter Singh, CGI Ranjan, and entire Ontario core member teams. Please welcome.
So do you please have Peter G, can I please have you come back on the stage? She Johnson as well, Peter Singh, CGI, without Rajan T, and the Central Board Director T. We have a special announcement. I'm going to give that mic over to Naresh for the special announcement.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Kansi. So we have a national team, and in the national team we have a couple of other directors from Alberta already. So I get request to Juliefi Kaur, national team one of the director, Gopal Surani, one of the director, to come on the stage. We have a very important announcement today, and honorable MLA. I very well speak both of you. Dawal Shah, our advisory board member, also please join on the stage. He is also a national advisory board member. Amar Sinchani, our vice president operation. We have a Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce established in 2021 at the time of COVID on auspicious day of Vijayadashmi. We registered our chamber, and auspicious day of Makar Sankranti on 14 January 2022, we officially inaugurated the chamber. Chamber definitely the economic prosperity, and we in a Hindu believe economic prosperity and health and wealth both go together. So that's also our major one of the part. We have a different chapter. Reason Canada is a 5,000 kilometer country. If easily I can go to London, UK, when my family person is study, come to Edmonton always, and then tell everyone. So we have a different chapter. The reason, that's why they work locally also. And definitely we have a couple of mainstream event as a national team also. Within a 3 year, we have a 2 chapter. Already like Toronto is not a chapter, but there are many members as the chamber start from there. But let me tell everyone, the first Deep Prajwalan, the auspicious thing we do in Hinduism, it is for Hindu Canada Chamber of Commerce, started from Calgary, Pakistani origin Hindu chamber, Hindu member. So he did the first Deep Prajwalan for Hindu chamber. The name is Kishore Maheshwar. And you can see the YouTube channel, all videos and everything is there for CNCC. So we have a chapter established in a Southwest Ontario. And I want to update our audience and honorable political dignitaries. Southwest Ontario is from Tobermory to
Niagara Falls, Milton to Windsor.